Good morning, Southern Arizona, and we are back with another episode of Southern Arizona Sports Talks. Hey, we have an absolute legend in the house tonight. He's a two-time national champion. He is a three-time national coach of the year. And above all that, I know this for a fact, his biggest accomplishment is his coming to Christ and being a believer. Coach Andy Lopez. How you doing?
Thank you. I like the applause.
Hey, we have it all, man. We're going. We're doing everything we can to.
It's good to be here, brother. Good to be here.
Thank you. So I said that at the end because I know for a fact your biggest accomplishment and what you identify as a Christian. Where did that come from? Where did it start off? And in a way, kind of give us your testimony.
Yeah, I was really fortunate. My mom and dad they're both from Mexico. My dad's from Juarez. My mom's from Agua Prieta, just down the road. Godly people, man. They love the Lord. But we were brought up in the Catholic Church, and that's no disrespect to the Roman Catholic faith. I've often said that the Roman Catholic faith, for me, for Andy Lopez, was a tutor that led me to my relationship with the living Christ.
Yeah, kind of what we talked about before, like he was preparing you for everything.
Yes, without a doubt. I was an altar boy for 4 years. From,
nice.
9 to about 13 years of age, I was an altar boy. Back then, we learned the Mass in Latin. So I still have the little bit of Latin in me.
That's crazy because no one talks Latin that much anymore.
I know it, man. And then when I became... my mom put me in school early. I'm the youngest of three. My brother's 11 years older. My sister's 7 years older. And then I showed up. And my mom put me in school early. My mom and dad both put me in school. Great parents, fantastic parents. And so when I was 16, I was going into my junior year of high school. And I was involved in athletics like a lot of young guys. I was playing basketball. Back then, you could play everything, basketball, baseball, football.
No club sports.
Nah, he played everything, which is a blessing. I really thank God for that. I enjoyed it. And my grandma, my Mama Minga, man, she said, mijo, we're gonna go to Mass. She was getting older. And I was driving now. I was able to drive. I didn't have my own car, but I was able to drive. And mijo, take me to Mass. So I took my grandmother to church every morning from 16.
She would go every day?
Yeah, man, every day, awesome. 7 days a week. I took her to Mass. And then I'd drive her home. Then I'd go to school. And that became a habit for me. And quite candidly, that became a ritual for me. And all of a sudden, God became almost like a jack in the box. If I'm going to Mass, like, you're going to bless me, right?
Yeah.
And then, if I didn't go to Mass for some reason, something came up, and I didn't take my mom and go to Mass, and my mom as well, and another tia. So I took my grandmother, my tia, and my mom to Mass every
taking the
day.
whole crew over there
every day, and I kept that routine till the day I met the Lord, till the summer of 1979. I was single, and my sister got married, or my sister got pregnant at 16, and so I saw her life change drastically, and then I have a cousin. Like I said, my brother's 11 years older than me. I have a great relationship with my brother and sister, but I had a cousin that lived 5 houses away from me, and my mom's sister, my tia, Gaby, when they came from Mexico, they both got married and moved 5 houses away. So I grew up with that family. And my cousin Richard, who was just in town last week, we call him Chato, and we both got into a lot of things for about 2 years of our life. We were with a group called the Persuasions.
Oh shit! So so it's basically almost like a gang in a sense or something.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't a gang like we see today's.
Oh yeah.
No, but again, we weren't exactly selling Boy Scout cookies. I mean, we were involved in some stupid things, and I can't deny the fact that for 2 years of my life, from 15 and 16 years of age, I did a lot of things that I'm not very proud of, and my cousin was right there with me, right? Well, so anyway, at 24, 25 years of age, I'm now coaching at a high school in Los Angeles. I got done playing at UCLA. I'm sure we'll talk about that, but I'm done now, and I'm still going to Mass. And using God as a kind of a pop-up God, hey, Lord, hey, God, I went to Mass all week. Now I'm, bless me. And I saw my sister's life and my cousin Chato's life. And my mom had told me, my mom and dad were both in the Roman Catholic Church. And I saw my sister and my cousin Chato's life because my mom told me they're crazy. they're crazy. They're Bible people. They're this, and so I went and visited my sister and listened to her. And I saw her.
Yeah. Oh, so at this time, your cousin and your sister have already given their life to Christ.
Yes,
Oh, nice.
they gave their life to the Lord. And like I said, my cousin Chato, he was in the Golden Gloves. He fought for the Golden Gloves championship in California, for the state of California. I think he won the fight. We were just talking about it last week because he was at my house. I still think he won that fight. But anyway, but I saw his life change. So I'd go back. I lived about 30 minutes from my hometown, San Pedro. I was in Manhattan Beach coaching, a high school baseball coach. And I'd go back and I'd visit my mom and dad, and I'd visit my family because they were all in San Pedro there. But I'd see my sister every time I'd visit, and she was completely different. Wow, man, she was just a different woman. And I'd see my cousin Chato, man, and I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, we did a lot of crazy things together, me and my cousin Chato. I mean, we tested the world.
Yeah.
We tested the world.
Kind of being fearless and young in a sense.
Oh man, and we were living like idiots, and now he's preaching the gospel to me, and he's sharing the gospel with me, and it's unbelievable, man. I'd drive home and I was just confused. So I went and bought a Bible. And I was living, like I said, single out in Manhattan Beach, and had a roommate, but he used to go away in the summer to go take kids to Europe on those tours and stuff. He was the cross-country coach. I was the baseball coach. So I was there by myself all summer. And as the summer ended, I started reading the book of Job. How about that? I read the book of Job. Yeah, crazy. And there's a scripture in the book of Job in the 13th chapter where it says, though he slay me, yet I will hope in him. And I think most people, not whether they're in the secular world or in the Christian body, you say Job, most people know, oh, Job, he went through a lot of pain, and it's a trippy book, obviously. But when I read that, and I was on the beach. I love the beach. And it said, though he slay me, yet I will hope in him. And I thought, man, I don't have that faith. See, my faith was, hey, if I do good, if I go to church and I light my candles and I say my rosary and I say my novenas, like, you're going to watch over me, right?
Yeah.
But if I don't go to church and I don't say my rosary, don't say my novenas, ooh, man, I'm out there. I'm on my own.
Yeah, being scared, having the sense that he's not with you almost.
Yeah, man. Oh, man, yes. And all of a sudden, I read this scripture in Job, and it says, though he slay me, yet I will hope in him. Though he slay me, yet I will hope in him. Man, I don't have that faith. I don't have that relationship with God. And so I at that moment, at the beach, I said, Lord, I want to know you. I don't know you like this, and I want to know you. And, I wish I could say, the skies opened up and there were lightning bolts. And then, I closed the Bible. I got in my car. I drove to San Pedro, my hometown. I went to my sister's house and said, hey, we call my sister, her name's Teresa, but we call her Cha-Cha. Got all these nicknames in our family. I don't know why I don't have one, but my sister's name
Lopez,
is Cha-Cha.
right?
Yeah, Lopez, I guess so. So anyway, I said, Cha-Cha, I gave my life to the Lord. And she goes, oh, what? And I told her so. And she was in tears. Oh, my God. Then I went over to my cousin Chato's house or his apartment, and said the same thing. And so I started going to church with my sister and on a regular basis and opening the Word of God. And I've always been a disciplined man because of my mother and father. We were in a very disciplined home. My mother and father they loved us, and my brother and sister and I, they loved us in discipline, which I'm so thankful for. Yeah. Man, I thank God for my mom.
Kind of tough loving sometimes.
Man, I loved it, man. My mom, she could grab anything within reach to spank me. Chanclas, a wiffle ball bat, belts. And I needed it, and I deserved it. But man, she loved me in discipline, and my dad too. So it was easy for me. It was easy for me. So I started reading the scriptures daily.
Did it take, going back to your parents, did it take a while to kind of realize, when you're older, in a sense, you're like, that's why you did that?
Yeah, without a doubt. There were times in my life, especially when I was an idiot from ages 15 and 16 and hanging around with the Persuasions. And those are good dudes, man. There's only about 5 or 6 of us that are still alive. But when my mom would always plead with me, like, get away from those guys, get away from those guys. One night I got jumped really bad by about 5 or 6 guys. And I came home just beat up, had a broken rib, and my cheekbone was all messed up, and all the rest. And she said, mijo, when are you going to stay away? And I said, Mom, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. And I walked away. I just walked away. I hung out by myself. My senior year in high school, I used to walk to school by myself and come home by myself. I didn't go anywhere on the weekends. I just hung out just by myself. And no disrespect to those guys, because they were good, bro. They were good friends, man. Lifelong friends. I still have those that are still alive. I'm still close to. But I guess even then, God was pulling me away and honoring the prayers of my mom and dad. But the beauty of it is, I came back at Christmas time. I gave my life to the Lord in September, the weekend of September 3rd, Labor Day weekend. And and I was scared to tell my mom and dad that I'd left the Catholic Church, because I was the fair-haired child. I was the altar boy. I was the kid taking them to mass.
Yeah.
I was,
golden boy.
Innocent. Oh yeah, man. I was just as short of the Pope, to my mom and dad. And but I was scared to tell her, Mom, I'm at a different church. I was in Assembly of God church with my sister and my cousin Chato, and their families. And so around Christmas time, I went to visit my mom and dad. I said, Mom and Dad, I got to tell you the truth, man. I don't go to the Catholic Church anymore. So they looked at me like, what the heck, Mio? What are you doing? You've lost your mind. And I sat with them and I said, Mom, I have a relationship with the living God, Mom. I know He's with me. I pray all day long, Mom. I'm on the baseball field and I'm praying. And she said, well, how are you doing that, Mio? I said, well, I'm not saying anything out loud, Mom, but in my soul, I feel like I'm asking for wisdom and guidance, and give me understanding here. What's going on, Lord? And I said, Mom, I've never felt this before. I feel His presence, His countenance, His presence with me. And so they said, well, we'll come to church with you, Mijo. I said, what? She goes, yeah, we'll come to church with you, man. So they went to church with me, and my sister was shocked. This is a true story. When my sister gave her life to the Lord, my mom didn't talk to her for 2 years.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, man. It's a little town, too. I mean, you go to the same market, the Dollar Tree, you go to the dollar store. And
they're just turning the other way and stuff like that.
Because she thought she was nuts. She thought she was crazy. And so my sister looked at my mom walking into church service with me and my dad, and she was like, her eyes were like, saucers. And I said, I gave her a thumbs up, like, no, they want to be here. My mom and dad gave their life to the Lord that day. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, man. So, they're in the presence of God now. My mom went home to be with the Lord in 2013. My dad in 2007. How about this? My dad left this world to be with the Lord in June 30th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. June 30th, 1 o'clock in the afternoon on 2007. Yeah. Right? June 30th, 2007. My mom went home to be with the Lord June 30th. Same day. 2013.
Wow. Hey,
2013, yeah.
Sometimes things just make sense in that way. The Lord has a weird way of doing things.
Yeah, I've tried to share this with my kids. I praise God. All 4 of my kids are walking with the Lord, and I'm so thankful for that. To me, that is the most important thing. I'm 70 years old now, so I have a lot of time to reflect, especially being retired. I don't do anything. Since COVID, I kind of shut everything down. And I reflect about life a lot and where my life has gone and the things that God has blessed me with. And I've told my kids that there's nothing else out there, and I pretty much have tasted just about everything. I mean, for 2 years, I was an absolute madman. I mean, I didn't shoot heroin.
Yeah.
But man, you name it, I was probably dealing with it, messing with it. And I've had a lot of nice things. I've been invited to the White House 3 times. And
oh shit, what years?
Well, when you win a national championship.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I was on a committee with the NCAA, and no, I didn't go, to be honest with you. And that's not a political statement. That wasn't the goal. Like, the goal wasn't to go to the White House. The goal was to win a national title. And so I said, no, I'm okay. I'm good.
That's all that matters. The hype is all good, but this is what matters the most.
Yeah.
Now, kind of going to your baseball career, where did it start off? When was the first time someone put a bat in Andy Lopez's hand?
My dad loved baseball. My dad served in the Second World War in the Pacific Theater in New Guinea. That's how he gained his citizenship to be in this country legally. And I think of my dad's courage, man. He jumped on the back of a pickup truck in Juarez, Mexico, with his 3 brothers, all my uncles, and they drove in the back of a pickup truck, man, from Juarez, Mexico to Southern California. To give a better life for themselves and eventually for me and my brother and sister. And then he joined the war. He was drafted. He went the Second World War. He was there for 2.5 years, and he loved sports. And I remember as a child, my dad just playing with me in the backyard. And I started playing when I was, in fact, my cousin Chato and I, like I say, was here this weekend. last weekend, I should say, and we laughed because he's 2 years older than I am. And I was on the same Little League team with him, but I was the bat boy.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, because I wasn't old enough.
Yeah.
And he told my kids this last Saturday. We had a little family gathering at my daughter's house here in Tucson. And he said, yeah, your dad, he was the bat boy, but he was the best player on the team.
They didn't even realize they had a superstar on their team yet.
And the last game of the season, the coach, Mr. Trujillo, let me play. He snuck me in the lineup.
You hit a home run that game?
I did.
Oh, nice. How old were you?
7.
Oh, man. Already hitting out of the park at 7 years?
7 years old, and I was playing with 9-year-olds. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. The Lord blessed me. I love sports, and baseball was obviously my best sport. So I just started playing. Yeah.
You played any other sports like football?
I played football as a quarterback in football, and I played basketball. I couldn't shoot, but I played really hard on defense and point guard type action. But then when I got to high school, I stopped my sophomore year and concentrated on baseball. I was asked by the Minnesota Twins to play on their scout team on the weekends, and like a lot of kids, I had this vision of being a professional athlete and being a professional baseball player. So I kind of put football and basketball away and concentrated on baseball.
Went all in on baseball.
Yeah.
So one of the things with the show, I want to always speak to high school students.
Right.
And a lot of high school students are superstars, but they don't have the grades to do it.
Ooh.
When I was researching you a little bit, I knew I found out you were getting recruited by UCLA, USC, going on all the trips. But then you got asked a question by a scout. What kind of happened right there?
Yeah, I was, like I said, again, my high school is 10, 11, 12, okay? So you go to middle school or junior high for us, and then you go to high school. San Pedro High School is 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. So my 10th and 11th grades of high school, I was in the Persuasions, okay? And like I said, in San Pedro, there were the Techniques, the Averill Park Boys, the Monarchs, Persuasions, there were a couple others. And I say, we were the Hispanic group.
Yeah.
There were 15 little Mexican guys running around. And I learned how to ditch class. I learned how to ditch class, and we were pretty good at it. And I didn't go to school a lot. I really didn't. I went to school just enough to stay eligible.
Yeah.
My mom and dad. My dad worked from 5:30 at night to 3:30 in the morning. He was a longshoreman. Great man. Great work ethic. A man could not have a better father than Art Lopez for me. My mom cleaned homes out. She cleaned homes. Never drove a car in her life. She passed away at 93 years of age and never drove a car in her life. And she would take the buses or get rides from family members. So there was never a day where we talked about going to college. And that's
it was always just work.
That's not a knock on my mom and dad. They came from Agua Prieta and Juarez and just worked. But like I said, I could not have had better parents, by far, no way. And like I said, my sister got pregnant. My brother was a little older. And so college, nobody went to college. I mean, who goes to college? So you just get through high school and then you go get a job at Todd Shipyard or the Lumberyard or longshoring or the fishing industry. That's what you do in San Pedro. And so that was my life. That's kind of what I'm going to do. Anyway, I start getting recruited, and I'm starting to play pretty good, and people are recruiting me, and then they would ask me for my transcripts, and my transcripts were horrible. I mean, I was just, like I said, I did just enough to be eligible. Yeah. My mom and dad were great parents, but they never once said, "Mijo, how are your grades?"
Yeah, they just wanted you to finish.
They barely read the English language. My mom and dad never went to school. My mom was a farm laborer as a young teenager in Northern California. They would leave Southern California, go to Northern California, Central California, and pick strawberries and grapes and all the rest of the stuff, and then come back to Southern California. They didn't go to school. My dad didn't go to school. They just didn't. So that was never an issue. That was never brought up. And for me, kind of liked it, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, mom and dad
just enjoy what's going on.
My mom. The only things my mom and dad would ask me is, "Mijo, are you hanging around with the wrong guys? Are you hanging around with the wrong guys? Are you hanging around?" There were no school involved. So anyway, I've got horrible transcripts, and so I was one of the. I'm not knocking junior college. I think junior college is a great situation for young guys to develop and grow physically and emotionally and whatever you need. I did that, but I had to go to junior college. Like, in other words, the people that were recruiting me said, "Hey, we can't get you into school.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to continue, you got to go to junior college, and then we'll continue to follow." And by the grace of God, I went to junior college, and I grew up. Yeah.
So one of the things, if I remember right, your defense was not that great your freshman.
Horrible.
What did you do? So there's a lot of athletes that can hit, and then they go through the trials and tribulations learning how to play defense in college because the game speeds up on you.
Yeah.
How did you kind of turn it around to eventually get signed by UCLA?
Okay, like I said, I grew up in a really disciplined home. Okay, there were nights that I would crawl. Again, my father got home at 3:30 in the morning. Left at 5:30 at night, got home at 3:30 in the morning. I knew that. My brother and I knew that. My brother was a good man, but we had this pull-out couch that we both slept in. Make a couch turns into a bed, and then my brother was 11 years older, so then he started living his life. So I knew if I got home by 3:30, I was in good shape.
Yeah, safe. You can do whatever at that point. Yeah.
My mom's asleep. She got to get up early and go to work, go clean homes and stuff. But if I can crawl in at 1:30, I'm good, and I'm not proud of that, but that was my life for 15 years, at age 15 and 16. I'm hanging with the Persuasions. We're out doing things. I'm crawling in at midnight, 1 in the morning, whatever. But my mom's routine was 6 o'clock in the morning, she's got a vacuum in our bedroom. She's vacuuming our bedroom at 6 o'clock. 7 days a week, 6 o'clock a.m., it's a vacuum. And it didn't matter if I got in at 1 or 2, that vacuum is on. So I don't get up. I even to this day, I get up at 5. 5:30 is a late morning for me.
That's sleeping in.
Yeah, man. And the other thing is my mom would say, "Mijo, ¿qué vas a hacer?" What are you going to do? So at 6 in the morning, I'm waking up, and oh my God, Mom, turn the vacuum off. So now I'm awake, my brother and then my brother left, and he moved on. But I'm waking up, going, "Mom, okay, what?" She's okay. What are you going to do? ¿Qué vas a hacer? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And if I didn't say I got this to do, I got that to do, she said, "Okay, I got things for you to do." So
she was going to give you a job.
Oh man, there was always something to do. So I learned at a very young age. There were 2 things that ruled our home. Love. Well, I should say 3 things. Love.
Coach Lopez, I'm getting the sign for our commercial real quick. We'll be right back after the ads.
Welcome to Snap Fitness. This is my gym.
And my gym.
And this is my gym.
And my gym.
Here at Snap Fitness Marana, we welcome all kind people trying to stay healthy.
Ready to make us your gym? Click the link below, message us on social media, or give us a call 520-400-4646.
We are Jet Sports Training, where our mission is to cultivate champions. This is where athletes come to get faster and everyday people come to change their lives. This is not a gym, but a community. Come get jetted.
About to take off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lot of y'all doubted on me. Now they like, wow, look how far you go. Legendary like all my idols, coming for it all, and I can't wait. Success just called and I got me a date. So I grabbed my ambitions and I'm on my way. Cross the wrong line and it's bad news. Might get burnt like a candle. We too hot to handle. World at my feet like a sandal. I only move when I plan to. Your moves could get canceled.
Show is sponsored by D's Barbers, one of the best barbershops in town. With the weekend coming up, you're always trying to look fresh. Make sure you go check out my dude, Dave, at D's Barbershop, 1842 West Grant Road. Go check him out. And we are back. So, Coach Lopez, you were talking about kind of your mom and your dad's the one that kind of taught you how to have a routine.
Our home, man, was the whole atmosphere of that home. When I reflect now, is they loved us in discipline. And, you had to be on time. Man, you had to be on time. My dad was from in the Army, and you had to be on time. And if you were going to do something, you did it right, or you didn't do it at all.
Always expect the excellence.
Oh, you did it right. You did it right, or you didn't even do it at all. So I mean, that was my whole world. Like, it was basically, you're up early and you're working, you're doing something, and you're on time. I mean, don't you dare be late for anything, for dinner, for breakfast. I mean, you make sure you're on time. And if I had $1 for every time I'd be doing something with my dad or my mom, and I'd hear him say, "Mijo, si no vas a hacerlo bien, no hácelo." If you're not going to do it
I've
right.
heard that.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about before. I heard that saying from my dad so many.
If you're not going to do it right, mijo, if you're not going to do it right, don't even do it. Like my dad would literally stop me and just go somewhere else if you're not going to do it right. So that was ingrained in me, and people don't believe me when I say this, but I had no intentions of being a coach.
Yeah, kind of not going off topic. I know you tried quitting 3 different times.
Yeah, my wife kept me in it. Yeah. My wife kept me. No, there wasn't one day in my life where I thought, I'm going to be a baseball coach. Nope, not one day. But I was ingrained with, if you're going to do something. I've said this to people. If I would have been a house painter, I would have tried to be the best house painter I could possibly be. If I would have been a longshoreman, I would have been trying the best I could possibly. If I'd have been a dog catcher, I would have tried to be the best dog because of my mother and father.
Be a national championship and whatever you do.
When I showed up, and even my high school job, the principal offered me this job, and we were in Los Angeles. It's different now, but back then there were 4A. It was 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A. 4A was the top. They play at Dodger Stadium at the end of the season. 2 teams show up at Dodger Stadium at 7 o'clock at night for the 4A championship. When I took that job my first year, it was 2A. They were 2A. And I walked in the job and I said, "Okay, Mr. Fisher," my principal, I said, "Mr. Fisher, how do we become 4A?" And he looked at me. I was 22 years old, and he looked at me and went, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, we're 2A right now. How do we become 4A?" Right? My mom and dad. If you're not going to do it right, don't even do it.
You want to be where the best are no matter what.
Yeah. How do we become 4A? He said, "Well, you got to win a lot of games." And I went, "And when we do that, he says, "Yeah, then I'll put the petition in, da-da-da." My 5th year there, we played for the 4A championship at Dodger Stadium.
No matter what, you're going to make it there.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. If you're gonna do something, do it right, or don't even do it. So go do something else.
Absolutely. So getting to your coaching career now, I know in the sense you were in a situation where you thought you were going to get drafted.
Yes.
And this is a really good example. Like even though we have free will, God's going to put us where we're meant to be.
Without a doubt.
And can you kind of tell us the story about the agent, the scout getting drafted, and kind of what happened?
Like I said, I went to LA Harbor. You mentioned earlier my defense was horrible. I led the state of California. I had a lot of schools in California now, junior colleges. I led this. My assistant coach showed me this, Don Carlucci. At the end of my first year of junior college, I hit really well, but I made more errors at shortstop than anybody in the state. And I looked at him and I said, "Okay, well, I grew up in discipline." I said, "Well, can you hit me ground balls?" Every day. So I would take ground balls early, before practice, during practice, and then after practice. And I got drafted for my defense, to be very candid with you.
Oh, so you did a complete 360 then.
Unbelievable. I was defensive player. Completely
Gold gloves.
different. But completely. Yeah. But again, it was hard work. It wasn't a magical technique and a lot of young people I see, they want this magical technique. No. It's hard work. It's just hard work. It's putting in the hours. It's putting in the moments. It's not a magical technique. It's hard work. So anyway, I played at Harvard College. I was, JC All-American, da-da-da. Then I get recruited to SC, UCLA, Arizona State, Long Beach State, Fullerton, all these places. I go to UCLA, and I have a good career there. I'm drafted in the 8th round by the Detroit Tigers. Back then, there were 16, maybe 18 organizations. There weren't like the Toronto Blue Jays or Kansas City Royals or, they were. So I was the 82nd player drafted in America. Back then, I got drafted and I got a Western Union telegram. That's what you get. Yeah, now it's a whole big thing. But back then, it was just this. Okay. So anyway, a guy came to UCLA and he talked to me about representing me. Now, remember, my background is my mom and dad Didn't even go to school. My sister got pregnant at 16. My brother's 11 years older. So there was no base for me to say, hey, guys, help me here. I got drafted. I remember telling my mom I got drafted. She thought I got drafted to the Vietnam
So
War.
she didn't even know.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we had the Vietnam conflict at the time, and she thought, she's, oh, mijo, no, mijo. I said, no, mom. I got drafted by baseball.
Like, I'm gonna go be a pro baseball player now.
By baseball. And so this guy represented me, and he had ties with the Detroit Tiger organization. And he did. I looked into it. He did. And now remember, this is 1976. There are no voicemails. There are no cell phones. It's a public payphone or it's a landline. And, it's the luck of the draw. If you get
hard to get a hold of anyone.
Man, when I look back, I go, how did we live like that? Anyway, so he says, I'll handle negotiations. I said, fine, man. So I'm good. Well, my scout was Mr. Winsick, Dick Winsick, and he would call me, again, no cell phones, no texting, just so every now and then I get a call from Mr. Winsick that summer, and he said, hey, are you going to sign? Yes, I'm going to sign. I want to sign. He goes, well, you better sign because they're going to make another offer, and then you're gone. Well, long story short, I asked my agent, I said, hey, because he had ties with the Detroit Tiger organization. I said, I got a call from my scout, and he said, this is the last offer. No, that's not true. There's more. And there wasn't another offer.
So that was it.
Yeah.
I think one time you said that they could find someone in Texas or something like that.
Mr. Winsick took me to lunch. He came to Los Angeles. He took me to lunch. He said, Lopez, let me ask you something. Don't you want to sign? And he told me what they were offering. And I knew what they were offering. I said, yeah, man, I'll sign for that. He said, well, you better sign that. I said, okay, let me reach out my agent. And then he grabbed my hand or my wrist. And he said, Mr. Lopez, let me share some with you. There's a guy like you under every rock in Texas. Now, I laughed with them, but deep down inside, that fired me up. Like, oh, yeah? All right, well, we'll see.
A little motivation now.
Yeah. But my agent said, no, they got a better offer, and they didn't. They did not have a better offer. So I went to the junior college because back then, believe it or not, if you didn't sign in June, there was a supplemental draft in January. That's no longer exists, but there was a supplemental draft. The guys that didn't sign in June could get drafted again in January. So my agent said, go work out somewhere. So I went to my junior college, which is 10 minutes from my house in San Pedro, and I worked out with the junior college team from, again, August, September, October, November, December, and waited for January. I didn't get drafted in January.
What was that kind of feeling like?
Crushed me. Absolutely crushed me. I didn't know the Lord then. I called the agent up and kind of gave him a piece of my mind, and more than a piece of my mind. Crushed me. Like, I thought it's over. What am I going to do now? And I really didn't know what the heck am I going to do. So I started piecing things together, working on the docks a little, doing some things like that. And, but I was at the junior college working out. So the coach said, why don't you stay here and help me, coach a little bit? I got nothing to do. I didn't make a penny. In fact, I lost money. I lost money. Yeah, the deal was he had a Christmas tree lot, and he said, I'll give you some trees, and you can sell the trees in your hometown in San Pedro, and you keep the money. The first night we set up trees with a buddy of mine, Bobby Ramirez, Bobby and I set the trees up because he was working at the assistant coach then too. An oil tanker exploded in the harbor of L.A.
Ooh.
An oil tanker. It's never happened. And it rained oil. So the Christmas tree lot with trees.
It was done.
All oil. The trees had oil. So we're giving the trees away. I mean, we just think giving.
You're still giving them away? Even?
Well, yeah, it's a little town, 40,000 people. Like everybody knows everybody, and hey, Andy, hey, Bobby, and hey, man, take the trees, We couldn't sell them; they're oil on them, But I said, maybe you can put. I don't know. We just give them kids,
just give them free at that point.
Just get them out of the lot. You get them out of the lot. So I ended up losing money, and at the end of that year, ironically, here's a story how I got into coaching.
Prank phone call.
Bobby Ramirez and I, because I was working out to sign, he was working out to sign, so we would call each other and say, hey, I'd cover the phone. Hey, Bob, this is Jim Smith with the Cincinnati Reds, and why don't you meet me over here at San Pedro High School for this Saturday, and I'll give you a workout and maybe sign you to free agent contract. Well, he did that to me. I did that to him. One day I get home. The season ends. I get home. It's now June. Season ends, and the junior college season, and I'm going to go sell life insurance. I've called a guy that I know, and he's going to put me in a training. And I start taking courses to sell life insurance. True story. Aetna Life Insurance. And Bobby Ramirez.
That's where my mom works now.
Yeah, at life insurance. And Bobby Ramirez calls me, and I think it's Bobby. This is Dick Jacobson, South Bay Union High School District. I want to speak to Andy Lopez. And I said, yeah, Bobby, no problem. Boom, and I hang up the phone. I mean, slam it down. Thank God I didn't cuss. Slammed it down. And I walk away from the phone, and the phone rings immediately. And I go, God, man, Bobby, give it a break, dude. So I grab the phone. I go, Bobby, what do you want? And he goes, is this Andrew Lopez? And when everybody called, I'm Andy Lopes, but when I got hurt, Andrew, man, I was in trouble.
Yeah, that's serious. It's almost like hearing your mom, Andrew, or something.
Yeah, man. So I said, oh, sir, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought it was a prank phone call. He proceeds to tell me this is Dick Jacobson, South Bay Union High School District, which is in Southern California, right by the L.A. airport. And said, hey, I've gotten your name. From this is an amazing story. I don't know if you have time for how you got my name.
Yeah. Oh, we got all the time in the world.
Okay, there was a guy on that LA Harbor team. I won't use his name, but the roster was 30 guys. Okay, and this is for any young coach out there. I've said this to my son, who's coaching at the University of New Mexico right now. When he said I'm going to get into coaching. Okay, so I showed up. This is for my mom and dad. I show up at LA Harbor. I now know I'm not going to sign. I'm an assistant coach now. On a 30-man roster, the 30th man is, I won't say his name out of respect, but we'll say his name is Joe Smith. Joe Smith is a third baseman, and he's not very talented. And every day, Joe Smith would come to me and say, hey, Lopes, will you hit me ground balls? Hey, Lopes, will you throw BP to me? I'm 21 years old. I got nothing to do, so I work with him. Joe Smith, every day I throw BP, extra work, away from practice. He's the 30th man on the 30-man roster. Never plays. I think he got 3 at-bats. We played for the state championship that year. I think he got the 3 at-bats. He might have played 5 innings the whole year. All right? Okay. Joe Smith's dad is a dentist. I didn't know this till after this phone call. This Mr. Jacobson called me and says, I want to talk to you about a job, varsity baseball coach, teach 5 classes of freshman Spanish, and coach frost softball. I played football. I could do that. Varsity baseball, what the heck? I don't have a job. I'm going to do it in life. So I said, yeah, okay, I'll do it. What the heck? I'll take it. So I said, Mr. Jacobson, how'd you get my name? How'd you get my number? My dentist is Dr. Smith. Mr. Jacobson says, I went in to get my teeth cleaned, and Dr. Smith came in, and how's things going? He said, I got to hire a baseball coach, and da-da-da. Hey, you need to check on this guy Lopez at L.A. Harbor. My son Joe says he's a great young guy, work with him all year long. That's how I got into the profession.
Always treating everyone the same.
Treat the 30th guy like he's the first guy. I said this forever. Don't be scared of your best players. Don't be scared of your best players. If your best player needs to be spanked a little bit or disciplined, do it. And treat that 30th guy like he's your best player. Because you never know.
And that also brings a family together.
Oh,
because
man.
you don't see people as like, I'm higher than you or below you. Everyone's the same on this team.
The best player I ever coached, in all due respect to every player I ever coached, for 38 years I was a head coach. And I coached 41 guys that played in the big leagues. To all 41 of them, I say this. To all 40. And all the others too. You guys were really good. But the best player I ever coached, played 15 years in the big leagues and was a center fielder on the Olympic gold medal team. I got him because I treated a young man on my team at Florida like gold who never pitched. But his best buddy was this player.
So you knew he was like, hey, you're going to get taken care of over here.
Hey, this guy's honest. This guy's honest. He treats us all the same, man. He treats us all the same.
That's a great thing as a coach, seeing everyone. Like, it's like that old saying, like, you got a stack of quarters. And if you have one come off, everything's going to come down.
Yeah. So I got into coaching. I took the Maricosta job and did that for 5 years. And then I told Mr. Fisher, my principal, with about 2 months left in my 5th year, I said, hey, I'm not coming back. I just got tired of, to be honest, I got tired of teaching Spanish. I got tired of teaching Spanish, and I was single. And I just didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I was going to do something, but I wasn't sure. I was
Were you
working on
still
my
thinking you were
master's.
going to coach at that time?
No. Like I said, I never wanted to get into coaching. So I was going to get my master's in educational administration, and I thought I could maybe be an administrator, a principal, an athletic director, or something of that nature. So I told him, hey, I won't be back next year. I'm going to finish my master's work over the summer and so on and so forth. And that was with about 2 months left in the high school baseball season, my 5th year there. And lo and behold, about 2 weeks after I talked to Mr. Fisher, my principal, said, I'm not coming back. So get yourself a baseball coach and get yourself a soft base football coach and get yourself a Spanish teacher because I'm gone. And we had a great relationship. And he said, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. And I'd given my life to the Lord now. I was walking with the Lord for 3 years now. And he knew of my faith. And he said, boy, you're really trusting God with this, Lopez. And I went, yeah.
Heck yeah, no doubt.
I said, it'll work out. I don't know what I'm going to do. It'll work out. And then I told him I'm getting my education.
Coach Lope, that is time for one more commercial break. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in Southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash. When you call in anonymously with the tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward. Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
There is a lot of digital marketing and digital advertising agencies throughout the U.S. I see a new one pop up every day. But we stand out because of our community impact, our client relationships, delivering and doing what we say. That's a key thing, right? A lot of places will tell you, hey, we're going to do this. They don't communicate to you. We're in communication with you. You're going to always get that real small business feel from us. You're going to have ways to contact us, ask us questions, right? Because we want you to do better, but we want to be better every day as well. And we're always innovating. We're always coming up with new ideas, new ways to win, applying for new platforms, and even creating some of our own platforms is some of the stuff we have going forward. So I would say that's what sets us apart.
And we are back. So now kind of getting into your career after Cal State Dominguez, what was it like your first time going to Omaha? What were you feeling? Were you nervous or?
I was 37 years old. It was my 4th year at Pepperdine. No one expected us to be there. There's a banquet the night before the College World Series starts at the banquet, and there's 8 teams there, and you're seated 1 through 8, right? First seed, 7th.
Where were you guys seated in 1990?
Seventh seed. And so as the banquet, this is a true story, when the banquet starts, they bring up the first seed, and they'll say, I think Miami was the first seed. And Ron Frazier, legendary coach, Hall of Fame coach, was a coach there. And here I am, 37 years old with these guys, and nobody expected us to be there. And the MC says, okay, Coach Frazier, Ron Frazier, you want to come up here and tell us a little bit about your Miami Hurricanes? And Mike Martin from Florida State, another legendary coach. Mike Martin, you want to come up here and tell us a little bit about your Florida State Seminoles? Augie Garrido was there from Fullerton that year. Coach Garrido, one of them, Coach Gustafson from Texas, all these Hall of Fame coaches. I'm 37 years old sitting in the back. And he says, and now we have Coach Lopez. Al, Al, you want to come up here? He called me Al. Yeah, wait.
Was that a little bit of a motivation right there?
He says, Al, you want to come up here and tell us about your Pepperdine? So I go up and I tell him about our Pepperdine team, and I get us on the bus after the banquet ends, and I said, hey, fellas, it's the start of the tournament tomorrow. I said, fellas, here's the deal, man. It's okay. He don't even know my name's Andy. That's all right. I understand that. That's life. But, man, he doesn't even know how to say your name. He called you guys Pepperdine. So here's your choice, fellas. You can get beat in 2 games and go home, and I'll be Al Lopez for the rest of my life, and you'll be the Pepperdine Waves. Or you can stick around for 2 weeks, win a national championship, and they'll know my name's Andy, and they'll know how to say your name.
That's exactly. And then you beat a coach that told you were never going to win at Pepperdine, right?
Augie Garrido and I were friends. Legendary coach, fantastic coach. Man, what a good coach. And he passed away in 2018, I think it was. But anyway, after 6 years at Dominguez Hills, I was offered the Pepperdine job, and I took it. And I was out recruiting that summer, and I saw Coach Garrido. And he came up to me and said, Andy, I'm happy for you. It's a great place. It's a Christian campus, always. There's only 3,000 students. It's the smallest school to win a national championship, Division I national championship. No football program, 3,000 students.
That's crazy.
The entire student body fits in the gymnasium. Okay, every Monday you have a convocation and everybody shows up, 3,000 students. And he says, it's a great place, Andy. It's a great place. This was 1989 when he told me this. And he said, and he was honest. You know what? If it wasn't for my mom and dad, I'd probably be the same way. If it wasn't for my mom and dad and the Lord, I probably would have agreed with him. Yeah. He said, Andy, it's a great place. It's a great job. You can't win a national championship there. But it's a great place, and you're going to have a great career there because you're a perfect fit for it. And I remember driving away going, well, Lord, you're sovereign. And my mom and dad always tell me, well, if you're going to do it right. Do it right. And by the grace of God, 4 years later, we played Fullerton, Augie Garrido, in the national championship game and won 3-2. We won the national championship.
What did you tell him afterwards?
Well, it's funny because I used to motivate my team with it. But I never said who. I said, there's a college coach in California that told me we can't win a national championship here. So every day we're going to work to win a national championship. Our practices are going to be designed that way, our conditioning, everything. And when we practice, I'd say, and I'd taken Dominguez Hills to a World Series, Division II. So I used to say, fellas, that the practice today will never be in a College World Series the way you practice today. And then when we would practice well, I'd say today's practice will take us to a World Series. And today's practice will give us a chance to stay in a World Series. Today's practice will get us to World Series, but we'll get beaten 2 games. So I would gauge it that way.
Already preparing them mentally in a sense, like this is what it's going to take to win the national championship.
Right. Yeah, so that's the way I gauged our practices and what have you. And then I'd always motivate. Well, I just said, guys, I got to be honest. There's a guy out there that says we can't win it here. We cannot win it here. Well, when we won the national championship, we got on the bus, and Augie came on the bus because we had a relationship. And we just won the national championship, and we beat them. And so he came on the bus. And we're a classy act. Then he said to our team, he said, hey, guys, great job. What a year. Enjoy it. He walked off the bus. I stood up, and I went, hey, fellas, that's the guy that told me we'd never win it.
And I'm guessing everyone just erupted after
nuts,
that.
Man, they went crazy, yeah.
One of the biggest lessons I've learned from you is working the FCA camps and everything is you talk about a baseball career is just a small moment in a life. Talk about what you told your players after each national championship, because I've heard you say this doesn't identify you because this don't matter in 10 years.
Right. I've told both of them this. Like, people ask me this a lot because I retired. Like, hey, what do you want your legacy? Your legacy, this. And, I've had some nice things happen. One of only 2 coaches to win national championships. Me and Augie Garrido. Yeah. How's that?
And then one of 3 coaches to take 3 different programs to the World Series.
Right. Things like that. So, but what do you want your legacy? I said, my legacy is that I'm a child of the living God. My legacy is I'm a born-again Christian. I'm born of the Spirit. I was born of the flesh through Consuelo Lopez, but then I was born of the Spirit 46 years ago by the Spirit of God, and the Spirit of God dwells in me. So my legacy is I'm a born-again Christian. Winning a national championship, I told my players, fellas, this is a phenomenal moment, a moment you'll remember the rest of your life. You'll remember it forever. I'll remember it for the rest of my life. But it's a moment. It's not your identity. It can't be your identity. You can't, 10 years from now, you can't walk into your home and start celebrating with your wife about, man, this is the greatest national championship. Your wife's going to go, are you nuts? That happened 10 years ago. Like 10 years from now, you're going to be a father. You're going to be a husband. You're going to be working. You're going to be a salesman. You got to take care of your wife, your kid. Your legacy is who you're going to be as a man. This moment, though, you'll carry with you the rest of your life, but it can't be your identity. And a lot of people do make it their identity. I mean, I'm sorry to say it, but that's why we have a lot of idol worship in life. A lot of people make sports their identity. My identity has never been as a coach. It was for 2 years. My first 2 years as a high school coach. Yeah, it was. It really was. But when I gave my life to the Lord, I went, no, this is not my identity. This is what
bigger things in life.
This is what the Lord's given me to do, so I'm going to do a good job with it.
That's incredible. Speaking of that, because I remember working at camp with you, and I think this is a good story to tell, that you had a player that this family almost was spending money like crazy and banking on the idea that he was going to be a superstar. Can you tell that story? Because I always... As for a baseball guy, as a baseball guy, you fail so many times. And then
baseball is a hard sport. It's a crazy sport. You're on offense, you don't have the ball. You're on offense.
Yeah.
The pitcher on the other team's got the ball. I mean, that's nuts. You get 10 at bats, you fail 7 times, you're a great hitter. It's a maddening sport. I don't know why I did it for all those years. But anyway, I had a young man right after the national championship. We recruited Alex Rodriguez that year after the national championship out of Christian High School in Miami. So we just won the national title, so we can talk to anybody right now. We're kind of the flavor of the month. I had a young man in Southern California. Out of respect for him, I won't say his name. Again, we'll say it's Joe Smith. We got him. 6'4", center fielder and a pitcher. 6'4", right-handed hitter, right-handed thrower, and the guy was lights out. I mean, it was 92 when 92 was a big thing. 92 in 1993, 92 miles an hour in 1993. It's like 98 now. Okay, guys throw harder now. Okay, obviously. Anyway,
106 now.
Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, so and he was unbelievable. And everybody says he's going to be in the first round. He's going to be the first round. He was a junior college transfer. So he comes out in the fall of Pepperdine. This is the year after our national championship, and he plays in the fall and he plays really well. And then spring starts, and he's our center fielder and he's our closer. So he plays, and then we bring him in the last inning. And he's 92. In the fall, he's phenomenal. I got 30, 40 scouts at every inter-squad game, and he's the guy. And I'm going, yeah, he is. Spring shows up, and he struggles. He comes out of the gate struggling, offensively and pitching-wise. He's just not going good. So we give him a little bit of a break. We give him a weekend off, and then we put him back in the lineup, and he's horrible. It's bad. It's not good at all. And you see his self-confidence start to wear down a little bit. So I give him a break again, and we put him back in the lineup, and it's worse than ever. At the end of the year, he's not even playing. He's not even playing now. I had a speaking engagement. It's the last weekend of the regular season. We played Loyola Marymount. I'll never forget it, at Pepperdine. I had a speaking engagement that morning for a FCA organization, so I was going to be a little bit late for pregame, stretching and what have you.
Pregame VP and stuff.
I walk in the clubhouse, and I walk by this young man, and he's in the locker room. Everybody's on the field. I walk in, and I see him. I see Joe sitting in front of his locker, and come on, we've been in lockers. He's sitting there naked. He's sitting there. Okay, he's getting ready to get dressed. So I walk in, I go, Joe, let's get going, man. Oh, if we win 2 out of 3 that weekend, we win the conference championship. And I think we're going to do that. We're a pretty good team. And I said, Joe, let's get going, man. We got a big weekend. It's Friday. Okay, and he doesn't respond. So I'm thinking, well, he's thinking about, because he hasn't had a good year, he's thinking, okay. Yeah. So I go in my clubhouse, my little cubby thing, and I get dressed. I come back out, and Joe's still there, sitting there naked. I said, Joe, what are you doing? Let's get going. And he doesn't respond. Now I get right next to him, 1 inch from him. And I look at his face, and it's just locked. I said, Joe, man, I call our trainer. Our trainer calls 911. He was in a catatonic state. He spent 6 months in an insane asylum. Mental institution, I'd say.
Yeah. And the reason I kind of have you tell that story is I'm always pressing on people, do not make this your life.
No.
Because it can be taken. You never know when there's going to be a global pandemic, you're going to hurt, when this is just taken away.
It's a gift. The breath of life is a gift. The breath that I just took is a gift. My health is a gift. Playing baseball is a gift. Coaching baseball is a gift. It's all a gift from the Lord. Tragically, I found out from the person that was helping him get through it. And he did get through it. Never played again. Based off of what they had been told in October, November by the agents. He bought a car, he bought his mom a car, he bought his sister a car, all on loan.
Oof.
So he was banking on money coming in June at the draft, and now he's not even playing. So it stressed him out. Yeah. Sad story.
Yeah, I think, but something people can learn from, though.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So we're getting close on time, and the one thing I wanted to do was I have two little cousins, but I consider them more my brothers. They had two questions for you, so I'm going to show you the video on my phone.
All right. Like I said, as long as it's not a math question.
No.
Okay.
These kids are smarter than me.
I'm bad with math, man. I'm bad with a lot of things, but really bad with math. I should have gone to school more.
So I'll just.
Whenever you look at a player, what is the
Here, I'll put it close to the mic. That way you can hear it too.
Whenever you look at a player, what is the quality that you want most in them? And the second question is, of all the trophies and awards you've ever gotten, which one are you the most proud of? Thank you for your time.
All right, fellas. Let me do the first one. Let me do the second one first.
Okay.
The second one first. What? The one that I'm probably most proud of is the one that I just got recently. In 2022, I was inducted into the National College Baseball Hall of Fame, and I had seen that College Hall of Fame. I mean, it's shock. It's the grace of God, man. I mean, a kid from Pedro that didn't even want to go into coaching, and mom and dad didn't go to school, and I'm inducted in this Hall of Fame. I mean, you look at who's in that Hall of Fame. I mean, there's only about 10 coaches, like college coaches.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's unreal, man. I'm humbled, but the reason I say it's probably the best one is because I was able to take my family with me. My kids are all adults now, and I was able to take them with me. My son-in-laws, my two son-in-laws, both my daughter's husbands. Still waiting for my boys to meet the right girl. But one of them, I think, has. The other one, not yet. But anyway, I was able to take my family with me. Like, I was able to have my family there, My mom and dad weren't there, but I know they were there in spirit. But that one blessed me the most. That one blessed me the most. So the recent Hall of Fame induction, the National College Baseball Hall of Fame induction. What are the qualities I always looked for? I looked for quickness when it came to tangible things, athleticism. I always looked for quickness because I always felt like an athlete is going to find a way to play. And I looked for skills. Like, in other words, if I saw a guy that threw 90 miles an hour but couldn't throw a strike, I didn't want him. But I'd take the guy that threw 87 that could throw strikes. If I looked at a guy that hit the ball 500 feet, but in his 4 at-bats, he struck out 3 times. So one at-bat, he hit the ball 500 feet, but the other 3, I would take the guy that made good contact 3 out of 4 times because I was always basing things off of skill. See, I think tools are tools. Guy that throws real hard, guys with power, those are tools. Tools. Skills are skills. I think you win with skills. So I always looking for skills. And then I always looked for one thing. I looked for competitive nature.
Grittiness.
Yeah, I looked for that. The tangibles are skills and tools. That's a tangible thing. I can see that. But the intangible thing is competitive nature. We had a young man named Alex Mejia here on our national championship team in 2012, shortstop. Man, I played against his dad. His dad was a mad monster competitor. I played against him in high school, junior college, and college. And his dad was a monster competitor. And I admired it, man. I loved it. I hated him. I hated Carlo. He was on when he was on their team, I couldn't stand the guy. He was so competitive. But I always wanted him on my team. Alex came to a summer camp. I saw his name on the back. I said, Mejia. And I looked at the roster. I said, wait. And then before I could say anything, he says, yeah, my dad told me to say hello. I said, if you're anything like your old man, I'm going to keep you at this. Yeah. You're not going to leave here until you get an offer for scholarship. And thank God we got him because, man, he was nails. He was fantastic for us. That whole team was great, but Alex was a competitive animal.
Yeah. From the 2012 team, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Coach Lopez, I'm so appreciative you coming in. Thank you for sharing your time. Like I said, every time I'm with you, I'm always learning something new. Shout out to my Highwire family. Barbara, Larry, Justin, Angel, Sean, thank you guys for promoting this interview so much. You guys are my family. I love you guys. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you, guys.